So as we begin just tracing some of who Jesus is, I mean, the next two chapters, chapters 2 and 3, he goes in and does a spiritual audit
Mhm.
of the churches of that day. And you can look at some of these churches, particularly Ephesus, and see how great they were doing in Ephesians and First Timothy. And all of a sudden, here's, about 30 or 40 years later, they've just fallen off completely. And it really is telling, and really all these churches started well, but how many of them allowed false doctrine to come into their midst, false teachers. They allowed immorality to be practiced in the church. They became lethargic. They became mediocre. They became lukewarm. All these things, except for two of the churches. And what's amazing to me is that, we look around at churches, at schools, at institutions, at Christian organizations, who began so well, who began by men who lived and breathed, the Word of God. And yet some of these institutions today are just vague, apparitions of themselves. They barely even resemble what they used to be. And we as individual Christians can be like that too. Someone once said this, Todd, that said, if you have ever been in love with Jesus more than you are right now, you're backslidden.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wake up call for all of us.
it is. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that, look, we ought to always be seeking how to be closer to Jesus, how to walk more with him, how to powerfully more represent him better in the world. And that's one of the lessons that the early church needed, is they needed to see Jesus. And as he said in chapter 3, verse 2, he said to the bride, wake up, and return to the things you used to do.